Yeah, just when I thought I was gonna rest after the stream, Israel couldn't wait a couple of days, and so Israel has just attacked Iran, and from what I understand, they are still attacking Iran. So Israel is doing exactly what it did last year. It's doing this Pearl Harbor attack on the Iranians, and I'm just looking at what is happening, what's being reported in real time. I'm looking at all the news updates here. Let's see here, hold up. Let's see here. Yep, Israel could not wait, and I had a feeling that this was gonna happen. I had a feeling that can you guys hear me? Is the audio good? Just let me know if the audio is good. Let me just see. I think the yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so Israel couldn't wait, and I had a feeling that this was gonna happen. I had a feeling. Sound is low. How about now? I think the sound is good. But yeah, I had a feeling that this was gonna happen, and I had a feeling that they were gonna hit. I just had a feeling, and I was hoping, oh my god, I hope they don't hit Iran after the stream. And here we are. They're hitting Iran. Yeah, my voice is good. You guys can hear me just fine. So I thought I was gonna rest. I was like, I'm gonna eat something. I'm gonna go to sleep. Nah, nah. You can't rest with Israel. Nope. You cannot rest with Israel. So let's check out the New York Times. Yeah, it's late right now, so I have to keep everything kind of low. But let's look at the New York Times. The United States and Israel attacked Iran on Saturday, according to American and Israeli officials, as multiple explosions resounded in Tehran. The attack followed months of rising regional tensions amid threats by President Trump. Thick smoke is rising from the district in Tehran where the supreme leader Ayatollah Khomeini normally resides. So they're hitting the area where Khomeini is supposedly residing in. According to the Iranian newspaper, blah, 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 Tehran residents also report seeing smoke rising from the district. So it's happening. I mean, it's happening. And I don't know if this is going to escalate into an Iraq style war. I don't know if we're on a time machine. We're going back to 2003. I don't know if this is just going to be a limited strike. It could be just a limited strike, and then Iran's going to retaliate. They're going to hit the Israelis, and it's going to be a similar situation to what happened last year. Or this whole thing could escalate into a serious war that's going to last for a prolonged period of time. I just, it's just exhausting. You know, like, when is this bullshit going to end? But here we are, you know, and there another bombing of Iran. The attacks have come on a Saturday morning, the first day of the week in Iran, with millions of people at work, blah, blah, blah. Three massive explosions have been heard in central Tehran, according to the semi official Iranian news agency. Israel has launched an attack against Iran. The Office of Defense Minister Israel Katz said in a statement, it said Katz had declared a state of emergency because Iran is going to hit Israel. Iran's going to retaliate. That's just the bottom line. Air raid sirens are sounding across Israel, warning residents of the potential for impending attacks. So they're going to hit, the Iranians are going to hit Israel, and yeah, looks like what's going to happen is a repeat of last year, or worse. What we have to see. Let's see here. I just saw a bunch of stuff just now. Let me see here. Why is the news so underdated? Let's see. It's BBC. So sirens sounded across Israel at around 8:15 local time, alerting people of the threat of a possible missile attack. The Israeli strikes happened amid diplomatic efforts. This is just like last year. It's just like last year. They had their diplomatic talks. They were about to have some more talks. Boom, Israel attacks. The Israeli strikes happen amid diplomatic efforts between US and Iranian officials for a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program. And here's the thing is that Iran told the Israelis, Iran literally told the Americans right before this attack, hey, we can deplete a lot of our enriched uranium. We can throw it away. We can make a negotiation. We can make some sort of a compromise. And it's like, no. War. War is the answer. The Israeli strikes happen amid diplomatic efforts, blah, blah, blah. Negotiations were expected to continue next week. Iran had made concessions in the talks, although U.S. President Donald Trump, who had previously threatened to attack Iran to put pressure on its leaders to accept a deal, said yesterday he was not thrilled. Of course he's not thrilled because the Israel lobby is not, they're not satisfied with anything that is not exactly what they want. And what they exactly want is Iran to be completely defenseless. This is what they want. They want Iran to have no ballistic missiles. They want Iran to have no nuclear weapons. They want Iran to have no enriched uranium. They want Iran to be a playground for Israel's little F-35s so that Israel could just go into Iran, bomb Tehran anytime it wants, just like it did in Syria when Assad was in power, and just like it's still doing in Lebanon. They want to have the ability to just go there, bomb, airstrike, do whatever it wants. And so they can't do that with an Iran that is armed with ballistic missiles. So they want nothing more than for Iran to be completely and utterly defenseless. So sirens are going off in Israel. So Israel's going to get bombed again. And no one's going to care. No one is going to be sympathetic with Israel. Nobody. Unless you're some Chick-fil-A eating Christian. Sirens sounded across Israel, alerting people of the threat of a possible missile attack. The Israeli strikes happened amid diplomatic efforts between U.S. and Iranian officials for a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program and avert a war. Negotiations were expected to continue next week. So Iran did make concessions. That meant nothing. Trump has ordered the largest U.S. military buildup in the Middle East since the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq, 2003. The Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said the preemptive strike was to remove threats against the state of Israel. Well, get ready for the missiles. Brace yourselves for the missiles. Last June, Israel launched an attack on Israel, leading to the 12-day war. The U.S. eventually joined Israel in the conflict, targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Recently, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had warned of what they described as a threat posed to his country by Iran's ballistic missiles and expressed his opposition to a deal that focused only on Iran's nuclear program. Iran had rejected discussing limits its ballistic missiles, blah, blah, blah. So they want Iran to have no ballistic missiles. Explosions were in Tehran. Yeah, because they're getting bombed, obviously. There's the aftermath of one of the strikes from America/Israel. The BBC just received images of smoke. And there's some more. Boom. I mean, when does it end? When does this shit end and we can finally rest from this bullshit? It's never going to end. It's like it's never going to end until this Zionist influence is removed. And it's just the same thing over and over again. Preemptive strikes, this and that. Okay, what else do we have? I'm going to refresh the page here. U.S. and Israel carried out the strikes. Oop, I have to pay money. They carried out the strikes. So this is America. and Israel. Okay, this is Washington Post. I'll make it a little smaller for you guys. Israel, sorry, hold on. Israel launches attack on Iran's capital with U.S. help as tensions high over nuclear talks. Israel has launched a daylight strike on Tehran. This is so stressful. I'm just so tired of hearing about this bullshit. The United States is participating in the Israeli strikes against Iran, according to a U.S. official and a person familiar with the operation who spoke on condition of anonymity. Israel launched a daylight attack Saturday on Iran's capital with a cloud of smoke rising from the city's downtown. The apparent strike happened near the offices of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So they're hitting the residence of, or at least one of the residences of the Khomeini. So this is regime change. That's what this is. It wasn't immediately clear whether the 86-year-old Khamenei had been in his offices at the time. He hasn't been seen publicly in days as tensions with the United States have grown, but the attack comes as the United States has assembled a vast fleet of fighter jets. Blah, blah, blah. Trump had wanted a deal to constrain Iran's nuclear program, and he sees an opportunity while the country is struggling at home with growing dissent following nationwide protest. Are they trying to take him out? That's what it looks like, yeah. Hold on a second. It's just so depressing to see this sort of thing. It's just, I have to ask myself, when is this bullshit just going to end? Iran had hoped to avert a war, so Iran is not interested in war. Why are they doing this? Because America and Israel are bedfellows. That's the bottom line. They are bedfellows. They are two countries that thrive on war, and they survive on war. They're like parasites. And so America's economy is based on war. It's a war economy. Israel is a country that is united only by one thing, and that is war. That is the idea that there is an outside threat that they have to unite themselves against. And so if there's nothing to unify, if there is no war to unify the Israelis will kill each other. Netanyahu knows this. So they have to find an outside enemy. They have to go to war. So they destroyed Gaza. They've been bombing Lebanon. They need something to do. And if they have nothing to do, they're going to kill each other. These Republican goofballs are so insufferable. Oh, yeah, tell me about it. Iran had hoped to avert a war but maintains it has the right to enrich uranium, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't immediately clear if Iran would immediately strike back, but it had warned that American military personnel and bases spread across the region would be targets. So if Iran hits an American ship, I mean, Trump's going to want to save face. And then they're going to want to do, they're going to want to continue this thing against the Iranians in Iran. So it could escalate into something serious. Or hopefully it's just going to, I don't know, it's going to end shortly. Witnesses heard the first blast by Khomeini's office. Iranian state television later reported on the explosion. Sirens sounded across Israel. We all know this. The Israeli military said that it had issued a proactive alert to prepare the public for the possibility of missiles. Yup, because Israel's going to get nailed. More explosions struck Iran's capital after Israel said it was attacking the country. Freaking Prince Andrew bullshit. Let's see here. Hold on. Where are the where are the updates? There should be updates here. Let's see here. I don't know if I need to pay money to read The Guardian. Explosions were heard in central Tehran, blah blah blah. We all know this. They're all reporting the same thing. That's all they're doing. I'm going to check out X. I thought, okay, I'm going to eat something. I'm just going to rest, whatever. I'll watch videos, fall asleep. I can never relax. It's just impossible. Here we go. You can't relax with Israel. Can't relax. It's impossible. You just... There you go. It's a pretty massive bomb. They're dropping a pretty massive bomb on these guys. I mean, this is pretty bad. Hold on a second, guys. Let me get my sound for the screen. One second. God, I hate this shit so much. Window capture. Why does it make everything so fucking complicated on this computer? All right. Hold on a second. All of a sudden OBS decides that it doesn't want to work. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. Should work now. Let's see if this guy has anything interesting to say.
Israel has launched what it calls a preemptive strike on Iran. That news just in from the defense minister of Israel. as a state of emergency was declared across the country of Israel. The government declared the state of emergency because of the expectation of Iranian retaliation with drones and ballistic missiles.
No shit. So Israel's gonna get bombed. Then they're gonna say, we're victims. Why is it always us? Oy vey, why is it always us? Why is it always us? And they're gonna be like, we're victims. Everyone should feel sorry for them. And you know what? Do you know how many people are gonna feel sorry for Israel when they get bombed again? No one. They're not gonna get fuck all from anybody. No one's gonna give a shit. And we're gonna get another show. We're gonna get another show. People are gonna be watching this and they're just not gonna give a shit.
Missiles. There's still a lot we do not yet know about this attack, but it comes as President Donald Trump has been considering a U.S. military action against Iran. The U.S. and Iran have been engaged in diplomatic talks for weeks now about Iran's nuclear program, are trying to reach an agreement over the matter. Let's go live.
Damn.
به تو زدن وای زدن
Dude, this Iranian chick is laughing. Oh, she's part of the anti-Khomeini crowd. Oh, man. I've never seen someone getting so excited about getting bombed. I've never seen this behavior before. This is very, very strange behavior. I've never seen it before. But from the looks of it, if I had to guess, I would say that this is regime change. If I had to guess. And if there's regime change, and Iran all of a sudden is aligned with NATO, then Israel is going to get screwed. Because, like I've said, if you have a NATO aligned Iran, then Iran aligned with NATO is going to be deepening its ties with Turkey. And the Turco-Iranian axis is only going to get stronger under NATO because there will be nothing to hinder the deepening of such an axis, the strengthening of such an axis, and America will support it. That axis will eventually go against Israel. If there is no regime change and the Iranians keep the same type of government, they're just going to bomb the shit out of Israel. If America decides to go into a prolonged war, that's suicidal for the Republicans, first off, politically speaking. Secondly, the vast majority of Americans will be against it, so it'll be political suicide for the Republicans. But if they decide to enter a war, you're going to have a lot of dead Americans, a lot of dead Israelis, and then Turkey is just going to enter Iran because Iran will be so destabilized that Turkey will just send troops, and then Turkey's going to get stronger. And eventually Israel is going to have to face this enlarged Turkey. So no matter how you look at it, Israel is screwed. If these are just controlled strikes, Turkey's still going to grow anyway. So it doesn't really matter which scenario Israel picks. Israel is screwed. Let's see here. And there's more of this. What if Israel gets India as a new best friend? You're going to have a lot of dead Indians. Why do you think this whole war... I have a theory as to why the Taliban is fighting with Pakistan. I have a theory. The Taliban is now just really an extension of American power. I mean, the Americans put the Taliban in power. And Pakistan leads into China. So if you look at a map, you'll see Iran, Pakistan, then China. If I had to guess, they're punishing the Pakistanis because Pakistan is a major ally of the Chinese, and they're using the Taliban to disrupt China's trade route. If I had to guess, I think that's what's happening. And there's more of this insanity. We've seen this one before. Let's see. Let's see if there's any live news coverage on this. Hold on a second. Let's see if there's any updates. Hold on a second. U.S.-Israel strike, Iran in joint attack, explosions, etc., etc. Washington is launching a joint attack on Iran along with Israel. Israel launches strikes on multiple sites in Tehran on Saturday, its defense minister said, as explosions were reported in the Iranian capital. The MEEE correspondent in Israel reported that sirens were heard all over the country. This is going to be very ugly, guys. I hate to say it, but this is going to get ugly. I'm going to see what they're saying in the Hebrew language. What are they saying in Hebrew? What are they? What, hold on, let me just check something. Let's see the live updates. Israeli defense. Okay, this is 16 minutes ago. Last to first. Iran's supreme leader not in Tehran, transferred to secure location, officials say. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is not in Tehran and has been transferred to a secure location, an official told Reuters. Israeli defense minister warns of imminent drone and missile attack on Israel. Oh, of course. More dead Israelis. And no one's going to give a shit. Hold on a second. Let's see what they're saying on Ma'adev. This is an Israeli newspaper. What is this? It was decided that starting today at 8 as part of a change we've made at the Homefront Command, blah, blah, blah. Okay, hold on a second. Guidelines include a ban on holding educational activities, gatherings, and going to workplaces, with the exception of essential businesses. The guidelines published by the Homefront. So the Israelis do the attack, and now they're warning about getting bombed, and they're gonna be playing the victim. That's what they're gonna be doing. Israel's airspace is closed, not surprisingly. Israel and the U.S. launched a preemptive strike on Iran. According to reports so far, they attacked a series of buildings in Tehran, which apparently housed senior Iranian regime and Revolutionary Guard officials. It is important to note that the attack was part of the American attack. This was a combined and coordinated operation between Israel and the United States, with each Air Force receiving a bank of missions, attacking anti-aircraft missiles, attacking ballistic launchers, and attacking command and regime complexes. Initial reports of explosions at Mehrabad Airport. Footage circulating online shows explosions at the presidential palace in Tehran. So it looks like they're really aiming for regime change here. The first phase of the American-Israeli attack was intended primarily to create air superiority and damage Iranian response capabilities. The understanding is that destroying a few missile launchers and missile depots will allow the attacking forces a wider scope for action. The goal is to create a chaos in the Iranian military and political leadership. The reports from Iran indicate a consolidation in the internet and communication system, and it is likely that these are electronic warfare disruptions. Operation was carried out by attacking hundreds of targets simultaneously, which created a much broader effect. I mean, it's just... I hate this shit. I can never fucking rest.
Boy.
Oh, this fucking schizophrenic bitch. Laughing as her country gets bombed. What a fucking cunt.
بهتو زدن. وای.
I don't know if these people are demon possessed or what.
بهش زدن.
Some demonic behavior. Iranian media reports that the Intelligence Ministry, the Defense Ministry Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's compound, and the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran and Tehran were targeted. The attacks are reportedly continuing in waves. Tehran has been said to be preparing for a response, and the response will be overwhelming, an Iranian official told Reuters. Overwhelming. What is this? Khomeini was smuggled to a hiding place. I wouldn't be surprised if they smuggled him to Russia. That wouldn't be surprising at all. At the same time as the American and Israeli attacks began, Reuters reports that Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei was smuggled. The Middle East is undergoing a historic upheaval, and this time the fire is striking all directly at the heart of the Islamic Republic. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah is not currently in the capital of Tehran. He has been hastily moved to a secure and secret facility, an official confirmed to Reuters. The dramatic decision to flee Iran's most powerful man to a hiding place is no coincidence. The New York Times confirmed, citing a senior American official, that U.S. military strikes on Iranian soil have already begun and are now in full swing. Israel has also done preemptive strikes on Iran, etc., etc. The reports of the American attack coincide with the dramatic testimonies coming from inside the country. Iran state television officially reported that the sound of loud explosions were terrifying the east and western parts, etc., etc. Iran is sinking into a media blackout. Local media outlets in Iran are reporting that mobile phone lines have been completely cut off in several large areas in eastern and western Tehran, near the epicenters of the explosions. In addition, there is a significant weakening of internet connectivity throughout the country. These communications blackouts are a familiar tactic of the Ayatollah, blah, blah, blah. Iranian source tells Reuters Tehran is preparing for a response, and the response will be overwhelming. Israel and the U.S. launched a preemptive strike against Iran. A special and immediate state of emergency was declared throughout the country. There is no need to stay in the home front command. Let's see here. A change in home front command policy. Israel's skies are closed. Explosions in Tehran. Where has the Khomeini been sent to? I wouldn't be surprised that he's in Russia, because I know that they had plans for him to be smuggled out to Russia. I'm spelling Khomeini wrong. Khomeini. I don't know why I have to give money to these people all the time. Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's office was targeted on Saturday as Israel and the United States ramp up their attacks on Tehran. Iran state television acknowledged that the explosion took place in the area where Khamenei's office was located. The explosion took place shortly after Reuters, citing an official, reported that Khamenei had left Tehran and been transferred to a secure location. Let me see. I'm going to see what they're saying in the Hebrew language. Hold on one second. I'm going to see what they're saying in the Hebrew. Let's see here. Hebrew. Turkey. Let's see here. Iran. I know the Israelis will have different information. So it says here, Israel strikes first, U.S. follows with full force and coordinated attack on Iran. So Israel struck first, and then America followed with a whole bunch of other attacks. Joint operation aims to neutralize Iran's initial missile barrage and weaken air defenses. Earlier, Hezbollah strikes in Lebanon sought to blind warning systems ahead of Israel-U.S. assault. The combined attack on Iran that began Saturday morning was first and foremost intended to neutralize an initial Iranian missile barrage that was already prepared on launchers. So the Israelis struck first. Looks like the Americans hit the launchers to prevent an Iranian counterattack. Alongside what are described as regime targets, the objective is also to damage what remains of Iran's air defense systems, including short-range batteries, to prevent them from intercepting American Tomahawk missiles. Now remember, the United States cannot afford to be in a prolonged war. It just can't. It doesn't have the ability to be in a prolonged war. So how long is this going to last? Is this going to be 12 days? Is it going to be 20 days? How long is this going to last? Israel cannot sustain a prolonged war either. So the question is how long is this going to last? Can't last too long. At least I hope not. But I don't think it's going to be a massive, what do you call it, conventional war. Let's see here. The joint operational pattern recalls the U.S. strike on Fordo and other targets in June. Israel first removes immediate threats to itself and to U.S. forces, including threats to Israeli home front and American bases in the region. The United States then enters shortly afterwards with full force. Friday's strike in Lebanon and Hezbollah targets was intended to blind the terrorist organization's detection systems, which were meant to alert the Iranians to the Israeli Air Force's departure for the preemptive strike. As Theo predicted. I don't know. I think I did a video about this a couple of months ago. I said, or last month, I said that the writing is on the wall. You know, Khomeini's going to come down. This could be it. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. This is interesting. Look at this. This is from Israeli media. It says here, senior official tells Reuters Ali Khomeini was smuggled out of Iran. So it looks like he wasn't just smuggled out of Tehran. He was smuggled out of Iran. So Israel and the United States launched an attack on Iran this morning. Khomeini's office was attacked in the center of the capital, according to reports in the country. Meanwhile, a senior official told the Reuters news agency that Khomeini is not in Tehran and has been moved to a secure location. So maybe he's not even in Iran. Maybe he's in Russia. Because remember what was reported earlier. Let me see here. Khomeini plan to flee to Moscow. See right here. Khomeini plans to flee. Now this was reported last month. This was reported in January. Khomeini plans to flee to Russia if protests not crushed. See, it says here that Ali Khomeini has a backup plan to flee Iran for Moscow with a closed circle of up to 20 aides and family should unrest intensify and security forces desert or fail to suppress the protests. The Times reported on Sunday, citing, so it's possible that this dude's in Russia. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising at all. Is Trump babysitting again? Yeah, he is. He posted a video on Truth Social. I'll check it out. Hold up. Okay, leave me alone. Where's the video? 12 minutes ago.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious, group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged
It's like we're back in 2003.
an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the
Defend the American people halfway across the world. Nice. Yep. That's the bullshit. It's all bullshit, guys.
Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 200.
We're bringing up the fucking Marine barracks story that happened in the fucking 80s, guys. This shit happened in the 80s. And do you know what Ronald Reagan did after the Marine barracks was attacked in Lebanon? He left. He withdrew out of Lebanon.
$141 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq.
I just want to fucking sleep. I just want to sleep. I don't want to hear about this shit anymore. I'm so tired of wars, man. I'm so tired of hearing about wars and bombings, and it's all a big business. It's a big racket. It's all so unnecessary.
The regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood.
And as if the United States never backed any terrorists.
And guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been
And what the fuck did Israel do in Gaza?
the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried.
You had a deal, you fucking asshole. You had a deal written, it was done by the Obama administration, and you tore it up at the behest of this piece of shit, Miriam Adelson and Sheldon Adelson.
They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message.
Isn't this all just so tiresome after a while? It's all so tiresome after a while, guys. When is it going to end?
For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
What is this guy saying?
The Iranian regime seeks to kill. Built our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
What's that saying from Shrek? Some of you may die, but that is a risk I'm willing to take.
But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms.
This dude is talking about regime change. This is, I'm telling you right now, holy shit. If any American soldiers die because of this bullshit, this is political suicide for the Republicans.
You will be treated fairly with total immunity.
This guy's talking about regime change.
Or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours.
This is regime change, guys. That's what this is. This looks like regime change. That's what it looks like to me. I think that's pretty obvious. He's talking about regime change. So, it looks like America is taking the opportunity to try to do regime change. To try to do a regime change war. So, oh my God. If they do a regime change, they take out the Khomeini and then they replace it with a pro-America government. Turkic NATO. That's right. Turkey's going to go right in, and Turkey's going to become more powerful. Like I said in the stream, Israel's going to get fucked no matter what it does.
To take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president.
They're really going to go for regime change. They're going for regime change. So I'm trying to think. Hold up. He's saying so this man, kitty cat. This reminds me of when Trump was president the first time. And he was talking about regime change in Iran. And I remember this, I was writing about this. And they were talking about backing some rebel group called the MEK. Mujahideen al-Halq-e-Iran, the People's Mujahideen of Iran. The Americans were talking about backing the MEK to rule over Iran. But the thing is that they didn't do regime change in Iran back in 2019 because they really couldn't. Because let's be real here. Russia has been the babysitter for all these countries. Syria, Iran. So, Russia is bogged down in Ukraine. That's what it is, and they got their opportunity. This is why they took out Assad at the time they did, because when they took out Assad, Russia was bogged down in Ukraine. Russia's still bogged down in Ukraine. This is the whole point of the Ukraine war was not to help Ukraine join NATO, and it wasn't to help Ukraine be, independent from Russia. The whole purpose of the Ukraine war was to bog Russia down, weaken the Russians as much as possible, and get the Europeans to boost up their militarism, and to just do what America wants to do in Russia's allied countries, because Russia is too busy with Ukraine. So China's going to get involved because China is a major purchaser of Iranian oil. About 84 or 85% of all of Iran's shipped oil is purchased by China. Iran is a major trade route for the Chinese. If you look at a map, you'll see Iran, then it goes from Iran to Pakistan, and from Pakistan, you go straight into China. So Iran is a major trade route for the Chinese. Also is Pakistan, and it makes you wonder why the Taliban all of a sudden is at war with Pakistan. It makes you wonder if the United States is just using the Taliban to hit the Pakistanis to go against the Chinese. That's a possibility. I don't know. But the Chinese are going to have to get involved somehow. And it looks like we could be seeing regime change. Do you think the U.S. will start backing the Uyghurs? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's in the future. That's going to come up. I wonder how many Americans feel represented. It's 3 out of 10. That's it. It's a minority of Americans who are being represented right now.
The president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, this is regime change. This is a total attempt to overthrow the government. He had 2/3 of the popular vote. Yeah, but they didn't vote for him to go to war. I've always said this. Trump is the businessman version of U.S. Grant. Great leader, but totally compromised in politics. Let's see here. "30 minutes ago." It's the same video. Anything new? Let's look at Israeli media. I don't want to see this narcissist. There's the planes. Why are these Iranians getting so giddy about their country being invaded? Looks like these are the traitors in the Iranian society. Let's go back to here. What's Russian media talking about? I'll check it out. Let's see here. Iranian presidents. Okay, let's check out the Russians in a little bit here. Media in Iran reports cyber attacks. Blah blah blah. Trump using military undertaking. Kitty cat, please go away. This kitty cat will step all over my keyboard. She's so annoying sometimes. The IDF has called for mass enlistment of reserve forces, including infantry forces that will be deployed along the northern border with Lebanon and Syria, in an attempt to prevent Lebanese militant group. Blah blah blah. This is all happening at the same time, by the way. If there is anyone anywhere in Israel counting on supporting Iran, don't try us. I state unequivocally, we will cut off the head of anyone who seeks to incite or support the enemy. The Israelis are going to be freaking killing each other. That's what I think. Well, it looks like the Americans are hitting the Iranian missile launching systems, so I don't know. Let's check out the Russian stuff. What is this bullshit? Russian. Let's check out the Russian news. Let's go to Yandex. Yandex is way better than Google for searching stuff like this. All right. 9 hours ago? No. Let's look at... Reuters reported that Iran is preparing a devastating retaliatory strike. Imagine living in a country where people think that they're hated for no reason. By everyone, nonstop. Just imagine that. He's in Isfahan? Really? Where did you read that? I'll have to look that up. I thought you've been awake. I've been awake since 8 a.m. Regime change, yeah. Russian Telegram channels. I have to check out those. Is he in Isfahan? I'll look it up real quick. Hold on. Khamenei, Isfahan. Explosions were heard in central Tehran, blah, blah, blah. It says here that there were explosions in Isfahan. A missile and drone attack toward Israel is expected, so Israel's going to get hit. Yeah, Israel's going to get hit. There's no doubt. Let's see here. Tel Aviv residents report of GPS services malfunctioning following Israel-U.S. strikes in Iran. Okay, it looks like they're just as clueless as we are. Where is... Let's check out New York Times. Iran's state television announces that Iran's armed forces were getting ready to retaliate against Israel. Several residents of Tehran said there had been no direction from the government so far and that sirens did not sound when the attacks began. They said that state radio and television outlets were not giving people guidance yet because they probably shut them down. If I had to guess, regime change in Iran would be fulfillment of a decades-old obsession of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. He has long portrayed the Islamic Republic as a menace to Israel, the Middle East, and the world. Skeptics of U.S. military intervention expressed doubt that they would ultimately result in an Iran that abandoned its nuclear program. Edward King, the president of Defense Priorities, said diplomacy would have been a better path. Of course. Yeah, diplomacy would have been a better path. But you're dealing with a bunch of psychopathic devil worshippers who in Israel who don't believe in peace. They don't believe in reason. They don't believe in diplomacy. They just want war, 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 war. The overriding imperative now is for the U.S. to avoid escalation into a prolonged conflict that wastes American power rather than enhances it. A Tehran resident and local journalist said landlines in the city were down and only mobile phones had sporadic reception. They were hacked, but they were backed up. They're back up now? Okay. It's demonic? Absolutely, it's demonic. Absolutely. Look at this. I hate this shit so much. Oh my god, I hate these fucking people so much. Look at this. The foreign, not this guy, but I hate these fucking neocons. The foreign minister of Oman, Badr al-Busaidi, who was mediating the talks between Iran and the United States, had flown to Washington to argue that progress was being made. Progress was being fucking made. Why did you do this? What is the point? Unless you... You're dealing with a bunch of lunatics. Compulsive, evil, subversive lunatics. War. Just kill them. Just drop a bomb on them. Oy vey. Oy vey. Who cares? They're goys anyway. They're goys anyway. Who cares? They're goys anyway. Who cares? Tehran had agreed to stockpile enriched uranium, making the enrichment argument less relevant. Iran has the right to defend itself. Absolutely. The negotiations were always a charade. Yep. President Trump urged that Iranian people to take over your government once the military action is completed. So he's going to bomb the shit out of them, and then they're hoping that the Iranians, the rebels, are going to take over the government. So it's going to be like, ooh shit! It's gonna be like the French Revolution. That's what they're hoping. So it says here, the Israeli military said it had detected ballistic missiles launched from Iran at the country. The first wave of Iranian retaliation in response to the U.S. Holy shit, guys, it's happening. The Iranians have already retaliated. Let's take a look. Is it on X yet? The Iranians have already retaliated. Already. So when are we going to start getting the videos of the ballistic missiles hitting Israel? That's what I want to know. Look at this. Air raid sirens are resounding throughout northern Israel and the coastal city of Haifa, warning residents to enter fortified shelters. So the Iranians are already hitting. They ain't messing around. They're hitting the Israeli. Are we going to watch Israel getting hit? Do you think this could go nuclear? Not right now. No, not right now. Has it begun? The fall of Israel? Maybe. But Israel about to get hit. Israel about to get hit. Oh, doesn't there update? Let's check this out. Senior official. Okay, hold on. Hold on. You guys can't see it. Senior officials from Arab states and European allies were saying that the White House was not telling them what the objective of the strikes would be. President Trump left no doubt in his video that it is regime change. When we are finished, take over your government, he said after the strikes began. This could be a failure. This could be a complete failure. I don't know. When we are finished, take over your government. Trump went on to claim that only he, among the presidents who have confronted Iran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, was willing to seize the moment. Let's check out Haaretz. Look at this. Sirens sound across northern Israel. Oy vey. Oy fucking vey. They're about to get hit. Israelis instructed to take shelter as Iran launches missiles. Israelis, should I start playing Oblivion? I don't know. Israelis instructed to take shelter as Iran launches missiles. Sirens expected to sound nationwide. In the next few minutes, alerts are expected in your area. In your area, you need to find a better location that will provide the best protection in your area. Run for your lives, everyone. Run for your lives. Because Netanyahu, your leader, just made a very self-destructive decision. While his wife is stealing towels at Mar-a-Lago or at some hotel, while Marco Rubio sniffs cocaine. You better hide in a bomb shelter. Oh my God. Military operation in Iran will allow Iranians to topple the Ayatollah regime. Oh my God. The stupidity of the Americans knows no bounds. And the stupidity of the Israelis also. Israeli hit confirmed? What do you mean confirmed? Like Israel just got hit? Good morning from Germany. Guten Tag. Let me see if I can find something. .2% of the world's population, 99.9% of the world's problems. I was here with Theo. Yep. We were all together. Okay, hold on a second. Israeli defense systems intercepting ballistic missiles launched by Iran toward Israel.
יירוט שני, יירוט שלישי, ומאחורי הבניין... יירוט אחד, יירוט שני, יירוט שלישי, ומאחורי הבניינים שם יש עשן. נראה לי נפל שם.
It's coming. But the thing is that if America overwhelms the Iranians with tremendous and destructive force, I mean, will the Iranians be able to hit the Israelis hard? That's the question. And will there be regime change? That's another question. If there is no regime change, this is a failure. If there is no regime change, this whole thing will be a failure. If there is regime change, then Israel is screwed, because then you're going to have a much more powerful Iran rising up. And if you think, well, the Israelis probably know that. I'm sure the Israelis know that that's not going to happen. Why else would they be doing this? Blah, 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 blah. Why would they be doing this unless they know that that wouldn't happen? Well, listen, they were calling for Saddam Hussein to be removed, and that led to the rise of Iran. They were calling for Assad to be removed. That led to the rise of Turkey. They were calling for Gaddafi to be removed. That led to the rise of Turkey. So if they get the Ayatollah to be toppled, Turkey's just going to become more powerful. And this is what Yuval Gallant has warned about. He said, Turkey is going to rise. Even if we take out the Shiite circle, the Shiite triangle, Turkey is going to rise. So Just sit back and enjoy the show, I guess. If you had the chance and power to tell the U.S. to fix this, what would you tell them? I mean, if I had the power, I would just negotiate with the Iranians and make a settlement and relax and tell Israel to fuck off. But then the Mossad would kill me. I wouldn't be alive. The Mossad would kill me. Nation building, yep. I believe that Iran is fully aware of being targeted and bombed, and therefore they are well prepared. We have no idea what does Iran have in their sleeves. True, true. The Israel and the Bible. Okay, we're talking about the Bible. We're talking about Zionism now. Denounce Judaism. I check out the prepper from New York's channel and had to leave. He and his chat are so Zio-cucked. Oh, do you know what's funny is Asmongold. I mean, I used to really enjoy watching him, and that guy has become just a repackaged boomer at this point. I mean, he is. He's a repackaged boomer. He's like, yeah, this is so amazing. I can guarantee you, when Asmongold streams about this, he's gonna be praising this. So based, guys. Then again, Paris is the Rothschild stronghold, most of Iran. Is Israel going to expect us to take out Turkey? Probably. Yeah, they're probably expecting us to do regime change over there. I'm so behind. The resuming of the Judeo-Persian War has just happened. They are backstabbers and bullies. Yep. They crumbled when stood up to. Yep. You got that right. War pigs. Absolutely. That's the best meme ever. Yep. Let's check out New York Times. The targets back then were deeply buried at nuclear facilities, most of them far from civilian populations. The site that appears to have been hit today are the core of Iran's cities and its leadership. Can you guys see this? Oh, okay, you guys can't see it. To wipe out the leadership and make way for a revolution. The sites that appear to have been hit today are at the core, blah, blah, blah. There are almost no successful examples in modern history of regime change through an air campaign, but administration officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, have made clear they imagine a swift campaign with no U.S. troops. So this is interesting, because J.D. Vance has said that he does not want a serious conventional war with the Iranians because he knows that it would be political suicide for the Republican Party. So my assumption is that this is going to be a quick strike. They're going to overwhelm the Iranians with some fast and vicious strikes. They're going to kill a lot of people. They're going to cause a lot of destruction. And then they're going to tell the Iranian rebels to strike when the metal is hot. And they're going to hope for a regime change. And so if there is a regime change, then Iran is going to have access to Western markets. Iran will be NATO aligned, like Syria. Turkey will enter. Turkey will become more powerful. Israel will have to face a revived Turkish empire. If there is no regime change, then Israel will still have to deal with Iran and Turkey. So, it's a lose-lose for the Israelis. I think the Israelis are just desperate right now. That's what I think. He calls for regime change, yeah. Oh shit, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel announced in a video statement that Israel and the United States had launched a joint operation against what he called the existential threat. Okay, hold on. Netanyahu has a video. So Nan has a video. How do I find the video? Oof. Sirens blare across central Israel as IDF says second barrage of missiles launched from Iran. Military, so Netanyahu is now saying military operation in Iran will allow Iranians to topple the Ayatollah regime. Did not, so it says here that Netanyahu had a video. I can't spell this asshole's name. How do I find his video? Is this it? 2 minutes ago? Okay. Oh, it's in his fucking pig Latin language. It's fake ass language. There's no subtitles for this?
לפני שעה קלה יצאו ישראל. חפץ חיים, אין לנו ברירה.
Are you frustrated by YouTube's interrupted?
Shut up. Hold on. Today. Tel Aviv skyline. This is Tel Aviv right now. Okay, so nothing is happening. Can we see Iran live cam? So this is from Iran. This is live from Iran right now, guys. I mean, you can hear the explosions. But why can't we see the actual city? Happening, guys. Alright, this video is not really showing us much. Let's see here. Israel. This is bullshit. Don't care. Firing at Israel. No need to stay in your protected areas. Expect 4 days of combined attacks in Iran. Israeli official. This will be unprecedented. Senior official to Reuters. Khomeini has been moved to a secure location and is not staying on the capital. Israel and the United States launches an attack on Iran this morning. Defense Minister Israel Katz announced a state of emergency in all areas of the country following a missile and drone attack against the state of Israel. Local Iranian media reported that airstrikes were carried out in several areas of Tehran, including the presidential palace, blah, blah, blah. U.S. military is expected to carry out several-day operation. Trump says we're going to destroy Iran's missiles. Well, he said he was going to. He said last time that he was going to destroy Iran's nuclear project, and he didn't. Had to leave enforced which had a bunch of frat boys. So many fucking assholes out there. Tikkun Olam was being implemented. Yup. Tel Aviv just got hit. Tel Aviv. Sarajevo Times. Israel claims attempt to kill Khomeini as Tel Aviv says strikes on Iran carried out with U.S. support. Israel announced that it had launched a preemptive attack on Iran, blah, blah, blah. Despite the terrible reason for being in the chat, this is my first time here, and you all seem like a nice group of folks. Well, I mean, we're a pretty chill group here. I'm not seeing anything here about Tel Aviv being struck. Maybe I don't have the right source. Let me see. Let me see the Hebrew. Tel Aviv. Yeah, news in Australia just said missiles are heading to Israel. That's true. I read that, but I'm not seeing anything about Israel being hit. Thank you, Theo. No problem. Someone get this guy some coffee. I got myself a plate of pasta. I was eating it next to my cat. And I told this thought came to my mind, like, look up Iran. And I looked up Iran. And I'm like, I just wanted to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. Another wave of explosions. Shootings continue. Alarms in the Jerusalem area. Intercepted using Arrow 3 system. Intercepted using Arrow 3. So they're intercepting stuff. Let's look up. Live updates. IDF has launched a preemptive strike on Iran. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has announced, citing national security, blah, 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 blah. General Amir Hatami, commander-in-chief of the Iranian army, has been killed. Oh, shit. They're killing people. Has been killed in a series of IDF attacks on Iran, according to unconfirmed reports from the Israeli media. Authorities in the Islamic Republic have yet to confirm the claim. I fell asleep to the stream and woke up. Stream ended. Now I'm back. Thick black smoke is rising over Tehran after Israeli strikes. RT correspondent Saman Khajouri reports. Okay, let's hear this dude. What do you think the next move is? I think China's going to get involved because Iran is such a important and vital trade route for the Chinese. I think that the Turks are going to get involved. I think Turkey will eventually enter Iran. That's if it gets destabilized enough. But definitely Turkey will take advantage of the situation to become more powerful and to fill in whatever vacuum is left by a weakened Iran. If there is regime change, Russia and China will be further isolated, and Turkey will become more powerful. At the end of the day, Israel loses. Let's listen to this dude. What does he have to say?
Well, right, as reports are saying and as incoming images are showing, actually, Israel has launched preemptive strike, as what he said. Actually, Israel is saying that it has launched a preemptive strike against Tehran. Well, so far as we are just seeing from the rooftops in 3 parts of Tehran, 2 in centers and 1 in west in Argentine Square. So we are just witnessing thick black smoke rising into the air. And in the center of Tehran, around Pasteur Square, which is a location for the presidential office, around that place has been hit. Of course, we have to wait for official confirmation of the exact places and locations which have been hit by Israel. Of course, according to Israeli Defense Minister, actually, a state of emergency has also been declared in Israel, and this shows that definitely we will wait for the launch of drone and missile attacks by Iran against Israel. You know that definitely any kind of response is awaited to take place in the coming hours against Israeli attacks against Iran, because you know that Iranian officials have always repeatedly said that any kind of attacks from the side of Israel or the United States will be decisively responded in full force. So we have to wait for missile launches or kind of a appropriate response to these Israeli preemptive strikes. And this comes as Iran and the United States are once again in the middle of negotiations. And this comes as U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday said diplomatic efforts were unsatisfactory and he was about to make a difficult choice. And now what we see today might be the result of that choice. You know that back in June 2025, we saw that, again, U.S. and Iran were in the middle of negotiations, and even the sixth round of talks had been scheduled to take place the week after the fifth round. Again, Israel launched surprise attacks against Iran, killing top nuclear scientists and military commanders, and also hundreds of Iranian civilians. So this again shows that the United States and Israel are again because I'm hearing again sound is coming right now. I'm just hearing another explosion. So as I'm just reporting live, so we have to wait for official confirmations of exactly the locations or if any casualties have been reported. So as soon as we get more update, I'll be back with you, Yunan.
Israel being lit up like a Christmas tree. Never seen Theo looking so concerned. I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned right now. According to RT sources, the IDF is focusing its strikes on taking out missiles. A source familiar with the matter also said a security meeting is currently taking place, chaired, blah, 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 blah. An air raid alert has been declared in Israel with launches detected from Iran. Authorities said Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has urged his people to remain steadfast, stay inside, stay indoors because of my bad decisions. At least 5 explosions were heard in Tehran and were also reported in other cities, including whatever military operation has been named Roar of the Lion. Yeah, Roar of the Synagogue. Iranian President Mossad Pezeshkian was not harmed in the U.S. and Israeli attack, Mayor News Agency reported. Let's look at, let's go back to breaking news here. Iranian official tells Al Jazeera all American and Israeli assets and interests in the Middle East have become a legitimate target. Alarm sounded in large areas of northern Israel following the detection of a missile launch toward the country. The public is asked to show responsibility and act according to the instructions. All blah, blah, blah. Loud booms are heard in Jerusalem, likely from interceptions of incoming missiles. Air raid sirens are continuing to sound in Jerusalem. Iran's Revolutionary Guard widespread missile and drone attacks against Israel has begun. IDF says Iran launched additional missile barrage. Sirens activated across Israel. I wonder if there's any video of this stuff. Jerusalem. Like, Iranian missile reached Israel, no casualties. Netanyahu says we will create the conditions for the Iranian people to overthrow the evil regime.
נכה קשות במשטר הטרור. ניצור תנאים שיאפשרו לעם האיראני האמיץ לפרוק מעליו את עול המשטר הרצחני הזה. במהלך מבצע עם כלבי, שאלו אותי פעמים רבות, האם הפלת המשטר היא המטרה של המבצע, בנוסף להרחקת איום הגרעין והטילים? ואני השבתי שזו לא הייתה המטרה, אבל זו בהחלט יכולה להיות התוצאה. ואכן, זה בדיוק מה שהחל לקרות, כשמיליוני איראנים יצאו לרחובות. ועכשיו ניתנת להם ההזדמנות ליטול את גורלם בידם. נכה קשות במשטר הטרור. ניצור תנאים שיאפשרו לעם האיראני האמיץ לפרוק מעליו את עול המשטר הרצחני הזה. במהלך מבצע עם כלבי, שאלו אותי פעמים רבות.
Okay, whatever. It's just so it's regime change. That's the regime change is the goal here. Let's see. Let me see. Let me go see the Telegram pages. Let's see the Telegram pages. Israel. I don't really care about this. My mouse is not working. Mouse is acting retarded right now. See, the thing is that Iran can strike, but how much of a punch are they going to be able to pack if they're getting bombarded by the United States? That's the question. In other words, are they going to be able to impactfully hit the Israelis, even with the Americans hitting them? That's the question. Thank you for being here with us, Theo. Good to have you so late. No problem. Have we officially entered World War III? I don't think so, no. But this is definitely an escalation towards that, I would say. They lost the first war? Israel? Yeah, absolutely. Man, this mouse. Good grief. Apple sucks. Let's look at DZN News. It's a Russian news search engine. Israel's operation against Iran will last several days, media reports. Israel's military operation in Iran will last several days, blah, blah. Israeli security sources told local media that preparations for this operation had been underway for several months in close coordination with the American side. An unnamed security source told Channel 12 that Israel is operating at full capacity in this campaign and the U.S. fully supports its ally. According to the channel, the initial phase of the joint Israeli-U.S. strikes is scheduled to last 4 days. The timing of the first strikes, early morning, was deliberately chosen to catch the Iranians off guard. On the morning of February 28th, the Israeli Defense Forces struck Iranian regime targets and military installations. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz stated that the attack was preemptive and aimed at eliminating threats to the security of the Jewish state. The situation is unfolding amid the failure of another round of indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran, which took place on Geneva on Saturday, etc. On Friday or Thursday. It's getting late, guys. I'm sorry. The escalation of the conflict comes 8 months after the previous escalation. Blah blah blah. Mossad called on Iranians to help Israel. There you go. The damn Mossad, guys. Mossad stated that it expects the Iranian population to assist in the Israeli-American military operation against Iran. To do so, Iranian residents must contact Israeli intelligence through a special chat box. Israel's Foreign Intelligence Service, Mossad, has asked citizens of the Islamic Republic of Iran to inform Tel Aviv about the results of missile strikes on Iranian targets and the movements of Army and IRGC units via a special chat box on a messenger app. The proposal, published on Mossad's official social media accounts in Farsi, emphasizes that Israeli intelligence has securely protected its communications with the Iranians and is awaiting any photo or video evidence of military operations on Iranian territory. Dear Iranian brothers and sisters, you are not alone. We have created a special, highly secure channel for you. Mossad. Signed, the Mossad. You can't get any more obvious than that. Mossad officials assured Iranian citizens that they would thus help Israel achieve its goals in the current attack on the Islamic Republic, which, according to Tel Aviv, boils down to the fight for justice. Iran attacked Bahrain. I'm not seeing anything about an attack on Bahrain. What's your source? Could you send it to me, please? Or just tell me where you got it from? U.S. base in Bahrain hit. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about this. U.S. base hit. I'm not seeing anything about this, guys. I'm not seeing anything about it. Maybe... Smoke columns rising from U.S. base in Bahrain nonstop. I don't know if this is real or not. I have no idea if this is even confirmed. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I did not expect that. I looked up Israel. I did not expect that at all. I'm so sorry. 100% attacked Bahrain. Okay, let's look it up real quick. Hold on.
Are you frustrated by YouTube's
Sirens at the U.S. naval base in Bahrain.
These retaliatory strikes coming in, Iran would fight for whatever it can because it seems that this time the Israeli and American resolve is much stronger and backed by major deployment, Niranjan, with at least 2 carrier strike groups there in the Gulf, one in the Mediterranean Sea and the other in the Gulf. And so I think we are going to see a doubling down insofar as these strikes on Iran is concerned. Whether this is going to be one last decisive battle is something which we have to see over the next 48 hours. But remember, these are coming just ahead of those Geneva talks. So whether there is still that element of browbeating Iran into an amenable position insofar as giving up the nuclear option is concerned. And I was discussing with Colonel Sailendra Singh earlier. Colonel Singh, there are regional dynamics involved. Saudis don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb. Qataris don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb. UAE, Oman, anyone they're there, they don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb. And that's why you are seeing Israel and the United States coming together and going for the kill. Finally, perhaps hoping that this...
I can't take the Hindu propaganda. I just can't do it. I can't take it.
These retaliatory strikes coming in.
Okay, go away. So it's here. IRGC announced a massive military operation against Israel. Iran is counterattacking military targets in Israel, the IRGC press service reported. According to representatives of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the retaliatory strikes will be large-scale. State media in the Islamic Republic of Iran have released an official announcement by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps about the launch of a retaliatory military operation against Israel, which launched the first attack on Iran this morning. The IRGC emphasized that the retaliatory operation is large-scale and will utilize all Iranian missile and air assets to inflict damage on Israel. However, Tehran has not yet announced any attacks on American military or economic facilities in the Middle East. The IRGC added that the morning launch of Iranian ballistic missiles and drones is only the starting point of retaliatory military operations, which will be followed by others. That's here. Times of Israel. IDF prepares to defend Israel from Iranian threat. The IDF is prepared to defend Israel amid tensions with Iran, started Brigadier. Let's see here. Stated Brigadier General Ifi Defrain. Despite continued vigilance, there have been no changes to civilian instructions. The Israeli Defense Forces, known as the IDF, is expressing its readiness to defend the state, but is not yet issuing any specific instructions. At some point, U.S. and Israel have to withdraw. Yeah, they do. So again, neither Israel nor the United States can seriously sustain and withstand a prolonged war with the Iranians. They just can't. So this is not going to last forever. This is not going to last for years in some massive conventional war. My guess is that the Americans just want to hit the Iranians really hard, try to destroy a lot of their military infrastructure, kill a bunch of their military leaders, and hopefully topple the regime. I'm not saying I hope for that, but that's what the Americans are hoping for. The IDF is prepared. The third round of talks between the U.S. and Iran concluded. Blah 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 blah. Qatar says it has intercepted missile launched from Iran. President Herzog. Iran operation is a historic step. Thanks Trump and Netanyahu for decision to attack. A main goal of the joint Israel-U.S. military operation in Iran is to hit as many leaders of the Islamic Republic as possible. 3 Israeli officials familiar with the matter told the New York Times. The officials said that if the United States and Israel want to kill Iran's top officials, they had to try and do so in the first wave of strikes. So they're really trying to hit and kill as many leaders as possible and then do regime change. check out the New York Times. The Israeli military said the joint U.S.-Israeli attack has struck dozens of military targets in Iran so far. The strikes aimed to thoroughly degrade the Iranian terrorist regime. Sirens blared in parts of Bahrain, an island nation in the Persian Gulf that is home to the headquarters of U.S. Naval Forces Central Command, blah, blah, blah. Mobile phone alerts from Bahrain Ministry of Interior urged citizens and residents to remain calm. So far, we're just getting the same stuff, nothing new. Would Iran use chemical? I don't know. I have no idea. Man spits facts. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Let me see. Iran Observer just reported this. I don't know if this is confirmed, so I'm not going to say if this is confirmed or not. But the Iran Observer said that this is a video that was taken recently from Israel.
מינימום אוטובוסים 20, הלכו? מינימום אוטובוסים 20 הלכו. 20 אוטובוסים בערך הלכו. אתה חושב שעד שמסיים כולם הוא לא עונים?
Moment U.S. Naval HQ in Bahrain gets struck by a missile. Damn. This is getting serious, guys. It's getting serious. Bahrain at the moment. Impact on American naval base. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
Committed to that nuclear weapons are forbidden. Yet, it's not about the nuclear weapons. This is all pretext. Even now, when you see I've heard Trump's speech and also Netanyahu's speech, both of them are trying to justify it to the public, to the American voters, that Iran, they went through all history of hostility with Iran and what Iran did and accusing Iran of everything. They know that they don't really have the popular base for this, yet they would go and attack Iran like this. So I don't see that this is kind of a tactical attack. This is a wide-scale war, and it will expand now on that. But Iran, I think, will take it progressively, and because Iran know how to take it, because the strength of Iran is in a long-term war. It's not just in just several attacks on responses. It's not like that. Again, progressively, you will see that expanding in the whole region. This is the danger. And I can hear now the explosions because the interceptions. Israeli air defenses are intercepting some of the missiles, and it's close to them because it's south of us. Damascus has been shaking a bit in the past hour.
Yes, so already the assault on Iran is affecting other regional areas, as you say, very, very directly. The skies above Damascus, as Ibrahim says. Ibrahim, just stay with us for a moment, because I have to cross back to Israel, where we're getting breaking news reports of missile strikes. And Charlotte Dubinsky, who has just been updating us not long ago on the situation. Fresh update, Charlotte.
Yeah, that's right. Just in the last few minutes, we've been hearing the air sirens again and what sound like huge explosions in the air. It sounded like you could hear a missile crossing the airspace here in Jerusalem, and then an explosion. We know Israel has got a multitude of layers of air defense systems to deal with things like ballistic missiles. The IDF saying that there is a wave of Iranian ballistic missiles heading towards Israel. We know that alerts have been in place, not just here in Jerusalem, but in Tel Aviv and Haifa as well. It says that its systems have been detecting those ballistic missiles and trying to deal with them. It does appear, at least here in Jerusalem for the moment, that has been successful. Just to let you know, it's the David sling that gets those ballistic missiles. Unan, I don't know if you can hear it, but those the sirens are roaring once again. That is an indication that a missile is incoming. As I say, the IDF are consistently working with a multitude air layer defense system here in Israel to detect those missiles and to try and break them up in a situation high above the altitude so that there is no impact here on the ground. It doesn't always work, but that air siren, again, we may hear explosions in the next few minutes. That has
Charlotte,
been,
can I just clarify,
so
just sorry to interrupt, but just to clarify, does it appear that is coming from southern Lebanon, that is what occurring? Because we know that earlier in the day it had been confirmed that, quote, Hezbollah tunnels had been targeted by the IDF amid the fear that that was going to be another front, an allied attack to Iran from the Hezbollah militant. Is that the focal point now in Israel, the north of the country?
No, that doesn't seem to be a particular focal point. Yes, of course, there is that issue with those indication of potential rockets being fired from Hezbollah, but that is indicative in the north of the country and how far they can reach. The situation here in Jerusalem is concern about ballistic missiles, a wave it's been described of by the IDF, and they are coming from Iran. Just to give you a sense of an update as well, that air siren getting even closer now, a warning that those missiles are incoming. But yeah, you can hear that loud and clear. But just to give you a sense, we have now heard the Houthis say that they are going to start resuming attacks in the strait near them. I don't know if you can hear those explosions going off again, Unan. That seems to be indicative of the Israeli air defense systems working here. We're not seeing anything or hearing anything that's hitting the ground yet, but you can get a sense of the tension here. We know that we're getting reports now that the US bases in embassies in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Bahrain, and also in Qatar now. Staff have been told to seek air shelters because they say that Iranian...
I'll check out Press TV. Hold on. Press TV. Ooh, looks like America's blocking me from watching it. Okay, hold on. I can see it live from here. Never mind.
October 7 was a decisive factor, but look at the repercussions with the Haredim, the issue of who's recruited to the Israeli military. They want the Haredim now to be recruited, the domestic divisions, which this new approach is causing.
Hey,
how long can...
here's Press TV, guys. I'm going about RT.
Missiles are en route, particularly in Iran, where there have, in Bahrain, where there have also been air sirens there. Local media suggesting that air bases in the capital being targeted. This does feel as if this is a conflict that could really explode into something far wider than just the US, Israel and Iran versus each other, as we're hearing, as you said, Hezbollah in the south of Lebanon apparently firing rockets on northern Israel on Saturday as a retaliation for those attacks by Israel and the US early on Saturday morning. These air defense systems going off here in Jerusalem, but also now air sirens in Bahrain and US staff in embassies across the region being told to take shelter. And here in Israel, all citizens have been told to go to their bomb shelters and to stay there until further notice. This is how seriously the country is taking it. This is a special state of emergency, and we have been told that this will remain in place for several days at least, Unan. But yes, a sense of the tensions here, those air sirens and those explosions now constant for the past 40 minutes or so here in Jerusalem, and also I'm hearing reports of that too in Tel Aviv and Haifa as well.
And just to tell our viewers, modern mic equipment normally stops outside noise getting in, allowing the correspondent's voice to come across clearly. We got a clear sense of the noise that is happening right now as you are speaking to us, Charlotte. Thank you so much for now. I'm sure we'll be speaking very shortly again. But Syrian journalist and commentator Ibrahim Wadi is good enough to have stayed with us from Jerusalem. Apologies for interrupting you there, but we just wanted to give our viewers a sense of what is happening right now on the ground in Israel. But just to pick up on what you were saying earlier, Ibrahim, there is a sense from the Americans, from the Israelis, that they want the Iranians, the opposition, to do the work for them. OK, we'll do the strikes, but you have to go and topple the Iranian government and the Ayatollahs, etc. How close in reality, is that dream to actually unfolding and happening and making the US-Israeli connection happy?
Actually, it shows how weak this plan is. It's nonsense because, you know, first, the Iranian regime is very complex. It's built on several layers, and each layer has several strengths or centers of strengths. You know, so it's really hard. I'm not going to say impossible, but like almost impossible to dissolve the Iranian regime. That's a dream, and asking the people to do the work for them is kind of like, so we will fight to the last Iranian instead, like in Ukraine, we will fight Russia to the last Ukrainian.
Yep. Yeah, and I think this guy is right. It's the fact that the United States is telling the people of Iran to do the revolution, and then the United States and Israel will do the airstrikes. It shows how weak the American empire really is right now.
The same strategy. It's proven its failure before several times, but in Iran in specific, this isn't just it's a religious regime, and it has a very big popular base. You've seen previously on the demonstrations when there was protest against against the regime. When the Iranian regime asked its supporters to come out, there were millions, and it has a huge popular base that will defend this its existence. So it's not only a dream; it's kind of it's nonsense to ask the people to do the job for you. But regardless of nonsense, that's again, what kind of a plan is this? Did you really plan this well? Is this your plan? Like asking the people to do the job for you? Yeah. You brought all these military assets, unprecedented since the war of Iraq, and now you want to, you know that you can't invade Iran. No one is insane enough to invade Iran. This is Afghanistan would have been a victim. And so I think this means that they don't actually have a plan, which is really surprising. Because when I heard both Netanyahu and Trump, as I said, they were trying. If you listen to the speech, both their speeches, they were trying to justify to the American people, justify the war. Obviously, they don't have the support of the voters in the United States. That wasn't enough. They asked the people to topple the regime within Iran. Where is your plan, your military plan? Did you actually have a plan? That's a main question. I think
that's a really good point. Let's go real quick. Let's check out Haaretz. Looks like they have an update here. Strong explosions heard in Abu Dhabi, locals said. Bahrain confirms attack on its territory after smoke reported from area of U.S. Navy base. Let's check out New York Times. Bahrain State News Agency said that the service center of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet had been subject to a missile attack. Several witnesses in Jufr, district of the Bahraini capital Manama, home to the naval base, reported hearing a loud explosion. Internet's been shut down in Iran. The scope and scale of the coordinated strikes by the United States and Israel against Iran that began early on Saturday appears to be far more extensive than the military operation ordered by President Donald Trump against Iran last June, with Mr. Trump saying the new campaign would be massive. In the initial wave, the U.S. carried out dozens of strikes with attack planes launched from bases around the Middle East and from one or more aircraft carriers. A U.S. official said the warplanes are part of the largest U.S. military buildup since the Iraq War, blah, blah, blah. It says here that the focus of the American strikes for the moment is military targets in Iran, a U.S. official said. Besides its nuclear facilities, Iran is believed to have more than 2,000 missiles, primarily short and medium-range ballistic missiles that threaten Israel and American forces across the region. Those missiles are scattered at launch sites across Iran and were among the first targets, U.S. military officials said. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground, Mr. Trump vowed in an 8-minute video. We're going to annihilate their navy, Mr. Trump said in the video. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can only blah, blah, blah. Iran has a fleet of hundreds of fast boats that specialize in swarm attacks in the Persian Gulf. It has a massive arsenal of 3,000 to 6,000 naval mines that can enable it to temporarily close off the Strait of Hormuz. The scope of the American attacks carries huge risks, as Mr. Trump acknowledged in saying that the campaign could result in American casualties. Sirens sound across Israel. Let's go back to Press TV.
Many areas in Israel, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, and other places. I think that this war is quite different than the 12 days of last time. It's a war which is very decisive, because the mottos or what Trump is saying, that we are to abolish the Iranian regime, we have to finish up all their capabilities, their nuclear plants, their and all even the regime. He wanted to get rid of the regime and to bring another one, and asking the Iranians to be ready for the future, which is so brightening and so on. That's why it's not. It's a beginning now, and how it develops, we have to wait.
Of course, it's going to take some time to see how these things are going to develop. But obviously, like you said, it's quite different from the past war. First of all, you have the fact that this is both U.S. and Israel. The U.S. has not made it any secret that it's going to take part in this war. So you spoke a little bit about how the past negotiations were actually only a mere buying time, actually, trying to maybe divert to attention somehow. But these are games that Trump has been playing for a while. And like you said, they do not trust, the Iranians do not trust the U.S., nor Israel, of course. And they had expected that there would be such a strike at this time. Do you think that the Israelis had known or are targeting areas, especially in Iran? Of course, we don't have specific information on what is being targeted within Iran. But how long can this last? I mean, for Iran, although there's going to be strikes on civilian territories and areas, and we can see, of course, from the images coming out, whether in Tehran and Esfahan, you have the targeting within on civilian areas. You have governmental institutions that are directly being attacked by the Israelis. But the Islamic Republic of Iran had always said, we do not begin wars, and we will not begin the war. But they are expecting it. You said they're not going to be standing idly by and not preparing themselves. But do you think now they are more ready than before? And is the fact that the retaliation was quicker an example of that?
It seems that the Iranians did understand this from the very beginning of last year. They had experienced the Americans, and they do know that all this bright ideas that the Trump says, and we are to collaborate with the Iranians and to give them chance for change and so on, and that they can have peaceful life and so on. The Iranians did know that this is a kind, not only a trick, it's a kind of making them calm down, and they will settle down, saying that, okay, the Americans are not to attack. But in reality, the Iranians did know, because the way that Trump is behaving all over the world. They had witnessed what happened in Venezuela. They had witnessed what's going on with Canadians, with Greenland, with others, and they do know that the Iranians did know before that the Americans are going to attack Iran, and that's why since that time all the precautions had been taken. I think this is I don't have concrete evidences, but I do know that such a threat would mean that the Iranians are taking their precautions in order to find a way that they can make a counterattack. And the way the Iranians responded in 1-2 hours, the very moment they had found that missiles are falling on civilian areas and even on residentials or on governmental places or on military bases or so on, they did know, the Iranians, that they have not to wait. That's why they retaliated, and the retaliation is spreading not only in one area. It is more than on American navies, on their bases all over the Gulf, on the occupied Palestine, on Israel, on everywhere. It seems that they are ready, and this makes the Iranians sure that their authority or their military power or the Revolutionary Guard is ready to face such an attack, which is not a trip. It's not a journey. It's a very
not a walk in the park for US
You know,
and Israel.
the Iranians has no choice. Let's take it as it is.
Yes.
The Iranians has no choice. This is one of the most important and critical and historical points of the life of the Iranians. Either they are able to find a kind of power and face where they can show the open eye of the Iranians, or it will be quite different now. That's why they are considering that this war is not a simple war. It is, I will not say survival, but at least it is a very critical situation, and they have to face it on the same level. And they know, the Iranians do know that they do not have the same powers or the same air raids, or they do not have aircrafts or navies or some. They know that, but they are ready on the other side, because you know, during the last war, 12 days, the Iranians had been attacked in different ways, and it was very wounding.
Okay. Somebody said here, okay, Taft Derek says, rocket hit northern Israel. Let's check that out. Haifa. Let me see. Yeah, I think I've already seen this.
When they engaged in war. This time round, in the midst of negotiations, they engaged in death and destruction and murder.
That Israel officially declared war against bomb shelters here in Israel.
Oh boy, they're victims, guys. They're victims. Here come the victims. Here comes the army of victims, guys. The victimhood has already begun.
We woke up this morning to the sound of sirens, alarms, all over the country of Israel. And then when we turn on all the news channels, we received the information that Israel officially declared war against the Islamic Republic of Iran, a preemptive war to prevent them from targeting us. So,
and now they're going to target you.
We are hearing reports of explosions all over Tehran, all over the Islamic Republic. We were told to be near bomb shelters here in Israel, and all the sirens alarms were tested because we are expecting a retaliatory strike by Iran. It's not clear what's happening at the moment, but I'll keep you updated, and soon we're going to go live with more details on TBN Israel, on Boots on the Ground.
Oh, TBN Israel, this is like evangelical stuff.
On what's happening in the war between Israel and Iran. But looks like, again, Israel will be the one launching the attack and spearheading this attack, and the United States will join forces hopefully later. But all the forces are here in this region, so we are at a way better position than what we were before. But it's officially,
bless you,
the defense minister of Israel declared war against Iran. Keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem.
Yes, absolutely. Amen. Amen. Look at this fucking asshole. Remember this bullshit?
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. Our president will...
And look at where we're at right now. Oh no. Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen, war with Iran just started with the IRGC. This is Israel right here. This guy's just dancing.
Whatever. Any updates? U.S. bases in Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain.
Unfolding in the afternoon there. That's a tense situation there, as we've been hearing from our correspondent in the Holy City throughout the day, whether or not Jerusalem itself will come under sustained attack. Unlikely. We've seen other areas of Israel do so, but as of now, Jerusalem, it appears so far, is pretty much unscathed. But let's get a sense of whether that is the case or not, and why it is, from Charlotte, who joins us live now. Charlotte, so many different updates from not just the two nations, as it were, involved, Iran and Israel, other areas, Bahrain, US Army sites there coming under attack, as you were laying out earlier. This seems to be engulfing the wider region, which is always the fear that it creeps
Zishkian is safe and well. We also hear that there are, of course, explosions in the city of Shiraz in Iran, and the fact that there are also new explosions heard in Abu Dhabi. Of course, you have instantaneous now information coming out.
Okay, so what's happening? Looks like nothing really interesting is happening.
Told, go to your bomb shelter and stay there, remain there until you are told to leave. I know many people have been preparing now for weeks, feeling as if some sort of conflict was brewing, despite the fact that we have had those ongoing peace negotiations between the US and Iran. There have been these indications that Israel wanted to act more swiftly. We saw that on Saturday morning, just after 8:13 in the morning. We heard the air sirens sound for the first time here in Jerusalem. We then had emergency text telling us that there was an operation underway and that we needed to be prepared. And then less than 2 hours later, those air sirens coming now, intervals at least of the 10 to 15 minutes, warning us as the IDF.
In a brief phone call with the Washington Post just after 4 a.m. Saturday, President Donald Trump said his main concern is freedom for the Iranian people and that the U.S. is working to make Iran a safe place. All I want is freedom for the people, Trump told the Post, asked about what he hoped his legacy would be as a result of this operation. I want a safe nation, and that's what we're going to have. So far, Israel has really been unscathed, from what I understand, from what we've been seeing so far. The thing is that can Iran actually hit Israel hard while the United States and Israel bomb it? That's the question. And so far, I'm not seeing serious strikes from the Iranians. Should they hit Denoma? They can. I don't know if they can do that now. Iran is just warming up. All right, we'll see. Escalation was hit. Let me see. I'm not seeing anything about Escalation getting hit. But again, maybe my sources are bad. Haifa, yeah, I saw that already. JD Vance is crying right now, yeah. Iranian rocket hits Samu south of Hebron. They hit Bahrain. Well, the oil prices are going to go up. Strait of Hormuz is going to get blocked. Hmm. I don't know. There's really nothing new coming out. It's all just the same stuff. Jordan's military says it has downed the 2 ballistic missiles targeting the country. So Georgia got hit, or Jordan was about to get hit. Yeah, everyone's just reporting the same thing. I'm not seeing anything new at all. What do you think we should do? There's nothing you can do, really. Everyone's just reporting the same things. I'm not seeing anything. Not really seeing anything new here. Iran's state news agency IRNA has reported explosions in the city of Urmia in Iran's West Azerbaijan province, about 30 miles. So they're hitting the area that's close to Turkey. Looks like they're preparing the way for Turkey to deploy troops into western Azerbaijan, which is in northern Iran. Let's look at AP News.
شمال تهران That's a question. I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan.
I mean, since we're talking about Iran, our good friend Charlie, what did he have to say?
Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one. This is more Israel pushing for Iran. But is that America's problem? That's a question. I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10th time's a charm. This time we're actually right.
Makes you wonder why he's dead. Makes you wonder.
Right now, air raid sirens are sounding across Israel's second largest strikes.
Haifa, there's a video from Haifa, according to Iranian Observer. For what it's worth, guys. Ooh. What do they have in RT?
But we are now in the midst of it. Alarms going off here in Jerusalem on an average of about 10 to 15 minutes, letting us know that those ballistic missiles, retaliatory strikes from Iran, which was attacked earlier on Saturday by not just Israel, but also the US, now hitting targets across the Middle East, or at least attempting to hit targets. For the moment in Israel, we've seen what appears to be a strike that's landed in Haifa. It's not clear if that came from Iran or whether that's come from rockets from Hezbollah, which are deemed to be a proxy of Iran, coming from the south of Lebanon. But it is clear, at least here in Jerusalem for the moment, the air defense system, a multi-layer, is working, is protecting Israeli citizens from attacks that their country started.
With a comprehensive overview of just what has been unfolding. And my gosh, Charlotte, there's a lot of updates bringing us them live from Jerusalem this hour. RT correspondent Charlotte Dubinsky. Well, let's delve into one of the many aspects that that Charlotte laid out there, that of the air defense sirens blaring across Israel and what it means for citizens there. Here's what's being heard in terms of that retaliation by Iran. Well, U.S. embassies in several Middle Eastern countries have issued shelter-in-place orders due to heightened security threats. Staff and American citizens have been instructed to remain indoors and avoid unnecessary travel for their safety. Israeli citizens also been urged to stay alert, follow official instructions and maintain a close eye on embassy updates. Well, the Iranian government, for its part, has condemned the strikes raining down on its territory as a total violation of international law. We remind you the attack comes amid Washington and Tehran's ongoing nuclear negotiations.
The criminal enemy has once again violated all international laws, and amidst ongoing negotiations has once again attacked our beloved homeland. In response, the Interior Minister has issued a directive to all provincial governors, reiterating previously communicated security guidelines. The Interior Ministry also calls upon the public to remain calm and composed and to exercise caution when planning travel within and outside cities, taking the current circumstances into consideration.
And so many countries now being pulled in. Social media flooded with images of unverified Iranian strikes on multiple U.S. bases across the Mideast. Yeah, video footage showing smoke clouds filling the skies. Look at that, the height of those plumes in multiple nations in the region. Again, unconfirmed exactly as to where this is, but we do believe that it's showing online reports of explosions in Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates as well, Qatar, Kuwait, all countries that host U.S. military bases affected, with flights in and out of those very busy travel hubs in the Mideast. Many airlines stopping those flights from happening today and I suppose for the foreseeable future as well. OK, let's bring in Steve Sweeney, RT correspondent in Lebanon, for another aspect of the
Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei, President Pezeshkian, targeted an Israeli strike, Israeli officials say. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and President Masoud Pezeshkian were both targeted in U.S.-Israeli strikes, an Israeli officials said, adding that the result of the strikes are unclear. So they may have killed this guy. Senior Iranian commanders, political officials killed in wave of Israeli-U.S. attacks. Several commanders in Iran's Revolutionary Guards and political officials were killed in a series of U.S.-Israeli strikes on Saturday, an Iranian source close to the country's establishment told Reuters. The Israeli military said it would be calling up about 70,000 reserve soldiers in the coming hours and days, mostly to bolster the country's air defenses. It's getting serious. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi called Iraq's Foreign Minister Fawad Hussein to inform him that Iran will be targeting U.S. military bases in the region. According to an Iraqi Foreign Ministry statement published on the ministry website, one of those bases is in Iraq's northern Kurdistan region. Israel intercepted 2 ballistic missiles that entered its airspace and were targeting its territory. My cat is getting really pissed. She's tired of me sitting at the desk. She wants me to go to bed.
Melvin, Steve, good to see you. Right before this kicked off this morning,
Hmm. You gonna stream some more tomorrow? Probably, maybe, I don't know. I might just do a pre-recorded video. Hello, Scoob. I'm done voting. Yeah. Can't blame you. Looks like the news is starting to slow down a bit. Yeah, there's not much going on. You'd vote for me? I appreciate that. Just looking at the updates. What happened to Khamenei? Is Khamenei alive, or how's he doing? Let's check out Axios. Everyone's trying to just grab whatever they can get in this whole media cycle here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything interesting. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna try to get some rest, and I'll see you guys soon. Probably tomorrow. Right now, everyone's just repeating the same thing. I'm not seeing anything new in the news cycle right now, so I am gonna try to get some rest because my brains are just fried right now. So try to get a little bit of rest, and then I'll come back and I'll see any updates. We'll see what's gonna happen. All right. See you guys later. We had a good stream, and be well. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.